Okay, good afternoon. Today's shir is Refuah Shalema for the baby Yehuda Chaim ben Esther Sarah, Refuah Shalema, and Lahavda ben Chaim and L'Chaim, the Yotzeit shir for my dearly beloved son Orshish ben Chaim ben Ephraim V'Tziona, his fourth Yotzeit, and it's also Le'ela Nishmas Pesel Bat Nachum, Le'ela Nishmato, and of course Le'ela Nishmas Tzvi Dov ben Chaim Pesach, Le'ela Nishmato. I just got up from Shiva for my brother, and now is a Yotzad of my son. Life is like a cup of coffee, Avraham, you know that? There's hot water, there's cold milk, bitter sediments, sweet sugar, all mixed up together. So you got to take it as it comes. Just remember a cup of coffee, hot water, cold milk, bitter sediments, sweet sugar, all mixed up together. All right. Today's topic is, I hope you brought a notebook, can we revive the dead? Now, if you look at your page, one side has Ezekiel, the vision of the dry bones. One side has that. It's not the cartoon strip in the Post. The vision of the dry bones. You see that? Ezekiel 37, where he resurrected, according to Talmud and Sanhedrin 92, he resurrected 200,000 dead people. The Gemara in Sanhedrin 92 says that these were the Shevet Ephraim. Please close the phone. Shevet Ephraim left Egypt 30 years before, and they got massacred by the Philistines. You look in Divrei Hayamim, and their bones were lying in that valley for Yehuda how many centuries? About 8 centuries. Wow. Until Ezekiel came and he what? Resurrected them. Wow. Now the question, 200,000, says the Gemara, of Ephraimites jumped the gun by 30 years. They miscalculated, massacred by the Palestinians and the Plishtim, and their bones were bleached in the sun. And 8 centuries later, approximately, Yecheskel came and what? Resurrected them. He revived them. And this is what we read, Avraham, in Chalamot Pesach. Why do we read this in Chalamot Pesach for? Tell me. Says Rav Hai Goen that the future revival of the dead will take place when? Pesach. So therefore it's appropriate to read this mass revival of the dead, even though we don't know when Yecheskel did that, but we read it on Pesach, says Rav Hai Goen, because the future Tchiyat HaMeitim will also take place when? On Pesach. So therefore it's appropriate to read this Haftorah of the resurrection of the dead on a mass scale on Chag HaPesach. Now, why will Pesach be the Yontiv when God will revive the dead? Why? Well, let's think, Yehuda. We were a Memtesh Sharei Tumah. Weren't we spiritually dead, Reb Gershom? Yes. Memtesh Sharei Tumah, we were spiritually dead. And like walking zombies. And God revived us. When? On Chag HaPesach. I think it's a greater miracle to revive the spiritually dead than the physical dead. So therefore, it's appropriate to read this on Pesach, and why the future resurrection of it will take place on Pesach. Because the Jews were spiritually dead. 49 levels of Tumah. And God literally what? Revived us. Right? So it's appropriate to read this Haftorah on Pesach. But now let's turn over to the other side. Let's turn over to the other side. A very strange Gemara. So if you read this Yecheskel 37, it looks like only a prophet can do that. Right? There's a strange Gemara in Avodah Zarah. See, it says Avodah Zarah on top, tractate Avodah Zarah on top. In bold, right, in yellow. And the paragraph begins, Chanoch, Antoninus. You had that? Avodah Zarah, it's written on top in yellow, and it's underlined in yellow, Antoninus. Sarah, who was Antoninus? Some say it was Mark Anthony or Marcus Aurelius, who was a chaver of Yehuda Hanasi. You see, yes. So Antoninus had a cave which led him from his house to the house of a Rabbi. Antoninus, even though he was the Roman governor, or some say even emperor, had a very close relationship with whom? Rabbi Yehuda Anossi.
Rabbi Kirsten says that he's Trump, resurrected.
Okay. So every time he visited Rebbe, he brought with him 2 slaves. He brought 2 slaves with him. Now, it wouldn't be healthy for Antoninus that the Roman Senate, Chava, would find out that he's so what, palsy-walsy with the chief rabbi of Israel. So they kept their relationship, Malka, under wraps. So he would sneak. He had a cave which led from his palace in Judea to the house of Rebbe. Every time he visited Rebbe, he brought with him what? 2 slaves. One of whom, what's the next word? One of whom he what? He killed. You slay me. One of them he killed at the door of Rebbe's house. Yiddish. And the other, who he left behind, was killed at the door of his own house. Why did he do that? That they shouldn't snitch and keep the secret that the Roman Senate, there's an extra one there, that the Roman Senate should not find out that Antoninus and Rebbe are palsy-walsy. Wouldn't be too healthy for Rebbe or for what? Antony either. So therefore, he took, right, and he killed these slaves. Yiddish. Now we know Antoninus was a righteous Gentile. Sarah, keep the 7, go to heaven. Antoninus was a righteous Gentile. I think murder is against the Noachide religion. So, what's going on over here? What's going on? Said Antoninus to Rebbe, when I call, let nobody be found with you. Our friendship must be kept secret. Not even your trusted disciple, Rebbe, can know that what? That we have these clandestine meetings. When I call, let nobody found with you. One day, when he went to visit Rebbe, who was there? Rabbi Chanin ben Chama sitting there. So Antoninus got a little upset. Why you get upset? Right, he might go and snitch. Didn't I tell you that nobody should be found with you at the time when I call? He might give it up and speak to one of the Kagaba, the agents, that are hanging around there. Rebbe replied, this guy is not an ordinary human being. He's not going to snitch. He's a trusted disciple. He doesn't have loose lips. In World War II, they would say, loose lips sink ships. I remember that in World War II. Where was I, Abraham? So he said, don't worry about him. He's not an ordinary man. He doesn't have a loose lips. Then Saint Antoninus, remember, he killed the servant of Menachem at the door. So Antoninus said, let him tell the servant who was sleeping outside the door to get up and come in. Remember, he killed him, right? Strangled him, whatever. So he says, he's such a great guy, let him call the dead servant. Rabbi Chanina thereupon went out, but found that the man was what? Dead. He said, now what should I do now? Shall I call and say that the man is dead? But you're not allowed to bring an evil report. It is Gani. You're not allowed, you shouldn't give an evil report. Al tiftach pe'el satan. One should not bring a bad report. Shall I leave him and walk away? That will be slighting the king. Because the king says what? Call the servant. He was in a dilemma what to do. So he prayed for mercy. What happened to him? You have a paper?
Yeah.
He prayed for mercy and what?
He was restored to life.
And the dead slave, Avram, was what? Alive. This was no Yecheskel Hanavi. This was a regular rabbi of the Talmud. He prayed and what? The dead slave what? Woke up. He then sent him in. It came from beyond. He just killed her, now he woke him up. So the dead slave came in. I think Anthony's a little shocked. I think Anthony, there's a seat over here, Chaim. Anthony's a little shocked, Said Antoninus, listen to this. I don't understand this. I am well aware that the least one among you Jews can what? Bring the dead back to life. Still, when I call, let nobody be found with you. Very strange, bizarre Gemara in Avodah Zarah, page 10. Wouldn't you say? Anthony said, I know the least one among you Jews has the power to what? Revive the dead. Really? Let's see. Okay, let's see. Okay, now we're finished with the paper. I just wanted to show you the paper. You shouldn't think I'm off the wall. Where a Rabbi said the least one among the Jewish people has the power to revive the dead. Anthony said that. Said Anthony. It's underlined in yellow, isn't it?
Yes, but you said that.
Said Anthony, I am well aware that the least one among you Jews can bring the dead back to life. Still, when I call, I don't want nobody around. Now, the question is, are we really able to revive the dead? Right? What did Anthony mean? Anthony was no slouch. If he was Rebbe's best friend, he was no slouch. What did he mean that what? That the least one among the Jewish people have the power to what? To revive the dead. What did he mean about that? Now, before we get to that, we make a bracha every morning, 3 times a day. He revives the dead. Now, if you know Hebrew, does God revive the dead now? It will be in the future, right? When Mashiach comes. So the bracha should be, who knows Hebrew here? Baruch atah Hashem, lahachayot meitim, right, Vivka? Am I right? Lahachayot meitim. But no, we don't say lahachayot meitim. We say mechaya meisim now. It's now or never. So how could that be, Gershom? So the Gemara says, Rishoyim af b'chayeyem kruyim meitim. I think it's called the night of the living dead. A rasha, even when he's alive and walking and breathing, is called what? Dead. A walking zombie. So when a person does tshuva, God resurrects him. So mechaya hameitim now. Every person sins. So posuk koheles Adam, posuk koheles Adam, ein tzadik baretz asher yasa tov v'lo. It's impossible not to sin. When a person sins, he becomes spiritually dead. When he does tshuva, God revives him. So mechaya hameitim now. Now, one of the ani mamins is meitim yechaya el barov chazdo baruch hadayat shem tehiloto. That God will revive the dead physically, not just spiritually. One of the ani mamins is, and the most important mash. I know it's the most important because it's the last one. It's the last one. You know, the Viennese table. Achron Chaviv, the Viennese table comes at the end of a meal, saving the best for last. So the last of the Shlosh Esrei Ikrim that Rambam brings down is God will revive the dead physically. Not just, now he revives the spiritually dead. But at the end of time, Ani Mamin, that God will revive the physically dead as well. That's a Ikra of Yahadut. And if you don't believe that, the Rambam says you deny the whole Torah. Why is it so important to believe in the physical resurrection that the Rambam makes the Ikra of Yahadut Avram? You hear my question? Why is it so important? The answer is because that was plan A. If you look at the Orach Chaim HaKadosh in Genesis 1, there's got to be a plan A and a plan. Plan A was that the human being should live forever in the physical world. And Orach Chaim HaKadosh says that the physical world and the spiritual world, he gives an example, Rav Nachum, of a 2-story mansion where beam me up and beam me down at will. So plan A was that the human beings should live in the physical and the spiritual world, in the 2 worlds, simultaneously, and the Orach Chaim HaKadosh says like a 2-story mansion, going up and down as will. But when Adam sinned, he broke the escalator. He created a chasm between the physical and the spiritual world. And now the only way to get from the physical to the spiritual world is through the bridge that we call what? Death. Death is only a bridge, says Orach Chaim, that connects the physical world to the spiritual world. Because we broke the escalator. But at the end of time, says Orach Chaim HaKadosh and the Ramban, when Mashiach comes, the escalator will be fixed, and both the physical and the spiritual world will line up together, and man will live in both worlds simultaneously. So it's a Ikav Yahadut, Sharona, because that's plan A. That's God's plan A, that man should live in the physical and the spiritual world eternally, simultaneously. We broke the escalator, now we have to go back So when Mashiach comes, we're going to go back to plan A. What's plan A? Back to the future. Yochanan, remember that movie? Back to the future, literally. We're going to go back to the future because the future was, or the past and the future, that man is supposed to live in the physical and the spiritual world forever. So therefore, Tchiyat HaMeitim is what? Ikav Yahadut. Because that's God's plan A.
But the Rambam says we're going to be the same as...
Right, we'll have questions later because I have a lot of material. Please hold the questions for later. Okay, I'm glad to answer later on. Okay? Now, getting back to the strange Gemara, right? The Ben Ish Chai wonders. First of all, how could Rabbi kill somebody? Rabbi was a righteous guy. Keep the 7, go to heaven. Not Rabbi, Anthony, right? And what does he mean that we have the power to resurrect the dead? So the Maral and the Ben Ish Chai say that this is an Agadata Gemara. Now keep in mind, the Talmud consists of 2 sections, Halacha and Agadah. Yechiel, only the halakhic part of the Talmud must be taken literally. This is an Agadah, says the Maral and the Ben Ish Chai and the Gra, that this is an Agadata Gemara, and the Ramchal, pretty heavy hitters, this Gemara Ruti is a metaphor. And we'll explain what the Gemara means. The Gemara is not telling me any stories. What's the point? And the morale to answer this question, I can resurrect the dead. How could Rabbi Anthony kill people? So to answer this question, the morale what, Masha? Why not? A Jew answers a question. Gemara in Moed Katan 18 says that Pharaoh of the Exodus was 1 amma tall. 1 amma is 2 feet. Now, when I saw the movie, The 10 Commandments, Ramesses didn't look 2 feet tall. Yul Brenner didn't look 2 feet tall. So, 1 amma is 2 feet, Nady. Moed Katan, page 18, you can look it up. It says, Ira, that Pharaoh of the Exodus was what? 1 foot tall. 1 amma, slicha, 1 amma is 2 feet. Wow. Says the Maral, really? Let's get real. Now, if I'd asked that question, they'd throw me out of yeshiva, Reb Nachum. But the Maral can ask that question. What do you mean he was 1 amma tall? I saw the movie. At least 6 feet tall, Yul Brenner, right? The Yiddishera says the Maral, no. Physically, he was 6 feet. But in the Olam HaElyon, now we're getting Kabbalistic over here. In the Olam HaElyon, in the upper worlds, according to his spiritual stature, he was only 1 amma tall.
Wow.
You hear? In the physical world, he was a normal person like Yul Brenner. But in the Olam HaElyon, Pharaoh, but in the Olam HaElyon, in the upper worlds, according to his spiritual stature, in God's eyes, look at him spiritually, he was only 1 amma tall. But in this world, you can have spiritual midgets, and they play for the NBA. Abraham, right? 7 feet tall gorillas, right? But they're mental midgets, right? And they play in the NBA. And you can have spiritual giants. Reb Moshe Feinstein, Zatzal, the Chafetz Chaim were 5 feet tall, but they were spiritually giants. So the Gemara means, says the Maral in Moed Katan, now if the physical world would mirror their spiritual stature, then Parai would be what? 1 amma tall. And the Gemara says Moshe Rabbeinu was 10 ammas tall. Moshe Rabbeinu was 20 feet tall. Says Maral, let's get real. Was he really 20 feet tall? No. In the physical world, Pharaoh and Moses were probably what? More or less the same height, says the Maral. But in the physical world, but in the spiritual world, Parai was 1 amma tall, and Moshe was 10 ammas tall. In the Olam HaElyon, what's reality? Is the physical world reality, or is the spiritual world reality?
Spiritual.
Now we're talking. Now we're talking. So the movie wasn't wrong, Chava. You see, Moses and Pharaoh were about the same height. That's in the physical world. But in the spiritual world, Parai was a mental midget, and Moshe was a spiritual giant. Rabbi Moshe Feinstein Zatzal, 5 feet.
Yeah.
Chafetz Chaim, 5 feet. Now we get more Kabbalistic here. We're over 40, we can talk, right? The Ben Ish Chai says there's a neshama elyona and a neshama tachtona. Every person possesses a neshama elyona and a neshama tachtona. Now, what does that mean? The Gemara Rosh Hashanah says that on Rosh Hashanah, Sifrei Chayim, the Sifrei Meitim are opened up. What do you mean? The book of the living and the book of dead are opened up. What does that mean? If the guy's dead, what do you have to open up his book for? Rosh Hashanah, Sifrei Chayim, Sifrei Meitim, Niftachim. I understand, the book of the living is opened up. But the guy's dead, what do you have to open up his book for? Says the Ben Ish Chai, we're not talking about the physically dead. The Sifrei Meitim refers, a person is alive and breathing, but his Neshama Elyona is dead. His Neshama Tachtona is still functioning. He's breathing and eating and sleeping and boogieing. But Sifrei Meitim means his Neshama Elyona is dead. And we'll explain, hopefully, what it means. What is it? The ability to distinguish between right and wrong. Neshama Elyona is a person's conscience. Person can be alive physically, but he could be spiritually dead where he has no conscience. His life is empty and has no meaning. That's what the Maral said. You go back to the sheet that Anthony killed the guard. He didn't kill him physically. He's not a murderer. But when the Talmud says he killed him, Anthony was capable to kill him, his Neshama Elyona. He didn't kill him physically. He took away his Simchas HaChayim. We'll explain, hopefully. He killed his desire to achieve. He took away his goals and his meaning. And the rabbi was able to what? To restore it. What does it mean? So, Anthony was afraid that the guard was going to betray him to the Roman Senate, right? To form on him to Rome. So what did Anthony do? Maral says that you take away a person's self-confidence, his will to achieve, his drive in life, his uniqueness, what makes him special. You take it away from a person, you won't have to what? To worry that he's going to inform on you. So Anthony knew somehow to put this slave down where he won't have the resolve to inform on Anthony anymore. He took away his Neshama Elyona. But it's much more than conscience. It's a person's Simchat HaChayim to compete, to want to achieve, to make a difference in life, to progress. He wants his family and friends to be proud of him, to build up his confidence. But with one mean word, killing me softly with words, Gershom, killing me softly. One mean word can kill a person spiritually. That's what Anthony did because he was afraid the guy's going to be a rodef and go snitch on him. He didn't kill him physically. He killed him softly with words, took away his desire, his self-confidence, his drive in life, what makes him special. He did that, he won't have the resolve anymore to go inform on the Roman Senate. There's a famous story about the Sfat Emes, Reb Chaim. A chassid asked the Sfas Emes, he has an opening to become a Malamed. Should he take the job? He needs parnasa. There's an opening in his town to become a Malamed. A teacher. The Rebbe said, no, go work for the Chevra Kadisha. Strange, Sfas Emes, Reuven, you heard of him. He says, Rebbe, are you hard of hearing? I said there's an opening to be a Malamed, a teacher in my town. I need parnasa. He repeats, he says, no, for you, the best job is to work in Chevra Kadisha.
Taking care of that.
The burial society.
Yiddish? He says, Rebbe, why are you telling me this? You know what he said, Sarah? Instead of burying the living, go bury the dead.
Wow. That's cool.
Instead of burying the living with your tongue, go bury the dead. He knew this chussid had a sharp tongue with a short fuse. He's going to be a teacher. He's going to rank out his students. You can destroy a student for life. A mean word to a student can ruin his life. There are many stories, like read the book Off the Derech. Off the Derech, people had experience with teachers who put them down. They killed them spiritually. It destroyed their life. A mean word from a teacher or a parent. So the Rebbe knew this guy with a sharp tongue. Instead of going burying the living, go bury the dead. For you, the better job is not a teacher, but to work in the burial society.
This is the Talmud of the Sprecher.
No, a chassid of the Sfas Emes. A chassid. A chassid. Okay? He knew his chassidim, you know. So, the Mishnah says, Havei mekabel es kol ha'adam b'sever panim yafot. Receive every person with what? With a smiley face. Don't worry, be happy. Who made that up? The Mishnah.
The Australian.
The Mishnah says, Havei mekabel es kol ha'adam. You should be, it doesn't say Jew. It's kol ha'adam b'sever panim yafos. You have to show a smiley face to what? To every human being. Some people like they can't smile. They're like constipated. Doesn't cost any money to smile. Person's having a bad hair day, and you smile on him, you revive him. Yechiel, you bring him back from the dead, says the Maral, not me, the Ben Ish Chai. We have the power to revive the dead.
Wow.
And it doesn't cost any money. A shmeichel, a kind word at the right time. You revive him. Isn't that incredible? Isn't that incredible? Huh? You give a person back his simchas achayim, that he's unique and special, and no one can do it my way. Right? You give him the will to accomplish, but if you put him down, you're killing his neshama elyonah. You're killing his simchat achayim. How do you say that in English? His joy of life.
Yeah.
The joy to achieve, to accomplish, to be special, to make a difference. That my family and friends should be proud of me. Anthony said the lowest Jew has the ability to restore life to one who is affected by a loss of conscience, a loss of direction in life, a loss of knowing what's really important in life. A Jew's job is to give direction and meaning and purpose to life. To, how do you say, to marich, to build up a person's self-confidence. How do you say that in Hebrew?
Encourage.
To encourage. Give a person encouragement. What? Bitachon atzmi. Now, you know, Hitler wrote in Mein Kampf. You should read it. Why the Jew must be destroyed? Because the Jew gave the world a conscience. The Jew gave the world Kani and the Neshama Elyonah. We don't want that. We only need a Neshama Tachtona. The Jew gave the world a Neshama Elyonah, a conscience. The idea of morality. There's a purpose to life. There's a meaning to life. I'm not a cog in a machine. We're Or Lagoyim, says Yeshayahu. That's why the Jew must be destroyed. We don't want the light. We want to live in darkness as pagans and barbarians.
Said if the Jews were destroyed, the Christians would follow after.
Yeah. Now, the Vilna Gaon takes up on this from the Maral. He says, alive has two types of meaning, says the Vilna Gaon. He says a person can be alive, his heart beats, he breathes, his brain works, but he's spiritually dead. He has no meaning in life. Why get up in the morning? Every day is the same. I'm bored. How many dumb phones can you play with? How many smartphones? How much Facebook can you look at? Right? Right? Yeah. Now these people are spiritually never out of it. Get a life. The Vilna Gaon says 200 years ago or more, get a life. We pray in the Aseret Yemei Tshuva, Kosveinu b'Sefer HaChayim, L'mancha lehim Chayim. What does that mean? Says the Vilna Gaon. Like Hashem. Hashem gives us Neshama Tachtona, Neshama Elyona, to be alive in the full sense of the word, not just to function as a physical what? An animal, right? To be a spiritual person who does mitzvot. That person is alive. That person is alive. We say, L'mancha b'Sefer HaChayim, L'mancha lim Chayim. We say it twice. B'Sefer HaChayim, L'mancha lim Chayim. Why do we say Chayim twice? Because we don't want just physical life. We also want what? Spiritual life. Spiritual life. To be alive. The Nishmat HaChayim. Now Hashem breathed into us the Neshama. The Nishmat HaChayim, the Chelik Elahai Mimal. Right? Chelik Elahai Mimal. Ki Chelik Hashem Amo. There's a posuk in Zoy Sabracha. Ki Chelik Hashem Amo. That every Jew has a part of God in him. It's a posuk in Zoy Sabracha. Ki Chelik Hashem Amo. God is a portion of his people. That's the Neshama Yonah. So we have the ability to be Mechayim Eitim. How? To give ourselves and others what? Chizuk. How do you say that in English? Strength. Encouragement. Right? Idut. Chizuk. That's the Nishmat HaChayim. The Talmud says, Ani Choshev Kamet. A poor person is considered dead. Why? Why is a poor person dead? Because he's depressed. He doesn't know where his next meal can come from. So what kind of life does he have? He has no mission, nothing to accomplish. He feels he has no value, no self-confidence, can't pay his bills, he's swamped, he's crushed. Ani Choshev Kamet. So if you can't give money, at least give words of encouragement. Give him back his Simchat HaChayim, his will to accomplish, to achieve. There'll be better days. Don't give up. Continue to go to the unemployment office. Don't give up. People feel depressed. They have no will to achieve. By giving him a kind word, the Gemara in Bava Basra says, if you give a person tzedakah without saying anything, you have 5 brachot. You give tzedakah with a kind word, you have 11 brachot. 6 more than just tzedakah. Well, a person's depressed, no simchat HaChayim, he has no will to accomplish. Sometimes we feel we're out of gas. You ever feel like that, Malka? We're out of gas. No energy, no koach. Why should I get out of bed this morning? Right? The days just blend into. How much Facebook can you watch? How many computer games can you play already? How many smartphones and dumb phones? Someone gives you chizuk. Someone gives you chizuk. Yiddish Abraham. Someone gives you chizuk. Abraham. Someone gives you chizuk. There's Abraham over there too.
They're everywhere.
Here, there, everywhere. Give a person chizuk, encouragement, a kind word. Doesn't cost any money. Ever see people are parsimonious to give a compliment? Why are they? A smile, a compliment, like you got to pull it out of them. To rebuke you, they're number one. But to give a kind word and a compliment, they're out to lunch. So the Vilna Gaon and the Maral and the Ben Ish Chai, superstars, give a person a kind word, encouragement, self-esteem. It raises you out of the doldrums. It restores your neshama elyona. It lifts you up. Person's not focused, where am I going? You get back your neshama elyona by a kind word and a shmeichel. How do you say shmeichel?
Smile.
When you're smiling. It's an amazing Gemara, Masechta Taanis 22. Every Jew at 22, Gershon, you can look it up. Every Jew at 20. Tractate Taanis 22. Eliyahu Navi's taking a walk with this great rabbi in the shuk. Taanis, page 22. You get on me, look it up. This great rabbi is taking a walk in Shuk Machne Yehuda with Eliyahu Navi. A lot of people there, right? Hundreds of people. And the rabbi asked Eliyahu Hanavi, who in this Machne Yehuda Shuk, who's a Ben Olam Haba? Elijah, tell me. So Elijah takes out his binoculars, focus, he looks, and he looks, and he looks, and he looks. Hundreds of people. Two people. And they're not wearing strimals. They're not even wearing a white shirt with a black jacket, and not even a black hat. They're dressed in maybe Levi jeans and a Hawaiian shirt. We're in Titus 22, Rabbi, look it up. So the rabbi is very surprised. Where's their Streimel with the black hat? No Borsellino. He says, what do you guys do? You know what we do? When we hear that people are depressed, we cheer them up, we give them words of chizuk. We give them a vertel. How do you say that in English? A joke, a kind word. People that are depressed, we cheer them up with a kind word and a right joke at the right time. So the rabbi said, now I understand why you guys are what? Ben Olam Haba. Now the Marsha says, "Versteht nicht die Gemara, Rabbi Gershon." You don't understand the Gemara. First of all, what is the Rabbi Reuven asking? Who's a Ben Olam Haba? And Eliyahu Navi takes out his binoculars and looks all around the street. The Mishnah says in Sanhedrin, Kol Yisrael yesh lam chelik olam haba. Ira, the Mishnah said everything. All Jews have a share in the world to come. So what's the Rebbe asking Eliyahu Navi? All Jews have a chelik olam haba. And what's Eliyahu Navi looking so hard to find two people out of hundreds? Yidam Ashos Kasha Shoshana. You ready? The answer is he didn't ask him who's a chelik. Every Jew has a chelik in olam haba. But who's a ben olam haba? A chelik means when a mother divides up the pie. There's an apple pie, right? And children and the friends of the children, right? So a fremde, how do you say that? A stranger will get a portion of the pie. But a child, a ben, gets a bigger piece of the pie than someone's not a ben. You hear my show's explanation? Every Jew has a chelik l'olam haba. But to give a kind word, to give a joke at the right time, to cheer somebody up, you get much more than a piece of the pie. You're a ben olam haba. You're a child of olam haba. Therefore, all the great comedians are Jewish. It's not a joke.
What?
All the great comedians are Jewish. They make people happy when they're sad. And they live to be very old, you know, all the great comedians.
They say that they're all depressive characters.
Rodney Dangerfield says, when I was born, I was so ugly that the doctor slapped my mother. I get no respect, he said. I get no respect, he said. There was a fire in my house and I was sleeping. And my wife says to the children, shh, don't wake up daddy. Didn't want to wake her up. She was worried about him losing his sleep, right? So where was I? Anyway, Rodney Dangerfield. His name was Yaakov Cohen, by the way. His name was Yaakov Cohen. And George Burns' name was Nathan Birnbaum. Lived to be 105. But he made people happy. So God is a different thermometer, Masha. God measures people not the way we measure people. Oh. Different thermometer, the way God measures people. So, what have we learned today? We have the power to resurrect the dead. To give a person back his neshama elyonah. To give compliments. The value of a kind word. Well done. I'm proud of you. You give a person his life back. I'm proud of you. Well done. Bravo. But it's so hard. I don't know why. You give a person his life back. Says not me the Maharal, the Ben Ish Chai, the Vilna Gaon. Wow. But when you put someone down, when you knock someone, you take away his neshama elyonah. Killing me softly with words. Killing me softly with words. You take away his neshama elyonah. And therefore the Mishnah says, Hamal bechver barabim, if someone humiliates someone in public, ki'ilu shayfech damim, as you kill them. Humiliate someone in public, the Talmud says, ki'ilu shayfech damim. It's like you spilled his blood. But you didn't spill his blood. He's still alive, but you killed Rab Chanoch, not you, Chas v'sholom, the neshama elyonah. You humiliated him. You took away his simchat hachayim. Now he's just lost in depression. You killed his neshama elyonah. Shayfech damim. It's just incredible. My Rebbe Rapam, I had great, Chaim got to hear this, Rapam Zatzal. He had many complaints. The husband, the wife, they would come to each other complaining, he's not what I expected, Rebbe. I thought I'm marrying a Talmud Chochem. He's not what I expected. And she said, the Zel Bazach on him, and he said, she's not what I expected. I'm very disappointed. It's not what I expected. You know what he said? If you make your husband feel special, he will become special. Now he's mediocre. You have complaints, he's not what I wanted him to be. If you make him feel special, if you constantly compliment him and encourage him, he will become special. Instead of knocking him all the time. He, my great Rebbe Rapam, Zechat Tzadik Avracha. You make your spouse feel special, she or he will become special. They will shine because you have confidence in them. You build them up. Every person has a will to be good. Every person wants to be special. Every person wants to be appreciated by his spouse. But if you keep putting each other down, he'll become, you talk to him like a shmata, he'll become a shmata. You hear this? What an insight. Rapam Zatzal, he never took no psychology courses, marriage counselor, but Reb Gershon, hafochba, vafochba, the kulaba. The Mishnah says in Ovot, everything, you want to know about everything, Ruvain, psychology, marriage counseling is where? In the Torah, you have to know where to look. You make your spouse feel special. She or he will become special. Because every person has a will, Rav Avram, to achieve, to shine. That's the trick. It's easy to put down and criticize, but for some reason, it's very difficult to what? To praise. You make a person's, he lights up. You light up my life. You give me hope. This song is my sheer, Malka. This song is my sheer. You light up my life. You give me hope to carry on. You give me back my neshama elyonah. Rose, when she sang that, did she know that she talked about neshama elyonah, neshama tachtona?
No, she didn't.
She didn't know.
She was talking about something.
I don't care what she's talking about, but we know what she's talking about. She's speaking about the neshama elyonah. to make a person shine. Give him back his simchat achayim, and then he'll shine. You heard of the Kotzker Rebbe? Kotzker Rebbe was very sharp. Hanok, very sharp. The other Hasidim, the Hasidim like to compare their Rebbes. Hasidim love to compare their Rebbes. One Chassid says to the other, my Rebbe is a Malach. The other Chassid says, my Rebbe is not a Malach, but he's no mensch either.
No mensch?
Get it? Okay, better you shouldn't get it. My Rebbe is a Malach. The other Chassid said, my Rebbe is not a Malach, nicht kein Mensch, euch nicht. But anyway, the Kotzker Rebbe, sounds better in Yiddish, doesn't it? The Kotzker Rebbe, they came to him, other Hasidim from different Rebbes. They said, my Rebbe can even be Mechaya Mason. No, what do you say, Kotzker? They came to Stechem, Chanoch. My Rebbe, the Bilgai Rebbe, he can be Mechaya Mason. No, what about you? Said the Kotzker Rebbe, to be Mechaya the dead, that's a small trick. But I have the ability to be Mechaya the living. Wow. To bring back a dead to life. But to give a living person back his zest for life, that's a bigger trick. You hear what he said? Yeah. I have the power to restore the living. To give him back his neshama elyon. To bring out the best in us. The Kotzker Rebbe had the ability to bring out the best in people. He said that's a bigger trick, Gershon, than what? Than bringing the physically dead back to life.
Didn't you say he was sharp?
He was very sharp, but he could see a person and tell him exactly what he needs to give us back his simchat achayim. So what have we learned today? Leil Nishmas, my dear son, Oshim L'chaim and Ephraim V'Tziona, and Leil Nishmas, Pesel Bas Nachum. What have we learned today? That a Jew does have the ability to what?
Revive the dead.
To revive the dead. With a kind word. A smile at the right time. But can also kill a person. By putting him down, by knocking him. The Mishnah says, you embarrass somebody, Ein lo chelik l'olam haba. What's so bad? You embarrass somebody, why do you use your share in olam haba? Because you killed his neshama elyon. So why should you have olam haba? You killed the spiritual life, so midah keneged midah, you lose your spiritual life. Isn't that incredible? Any questions? Thursday at 2 o'clock we have a shiur. I want to say Kaddish to Rabbanan. Thursday at 2 we have a shiur on current events in Daf Torah.